Hey, welcome back to Modern Daze. This is episode 10. We're in double digits. Oh, we're getting there. Things are going to happen.
Only if we don't avoid them as usual.
Only if we don't avoid them. Please don't avoid them. Well, not all of them. Some of them are okay. This week's question is given to me by my nephew Cameron. Shout out to Cameron. And his question is, what is your character's favorite season? So let's. I think we'll start with. I'm going to leave Ian till the very last. I'm just going to leave Ian till the very last. So let's start with Tom. What's your character's favorite season?
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm playing Raphy Matthews. Raphy's favorite season is spring, mainly because Halloween is over and winter is over, so all the ghosts and ghoulies that come out in the dark are getting a bit quieter.
A sensible reason. I like that. Raphy doesn't like all the ghosts and ghoulies coming out because he's usually the one that has to deal with it.
Exactly. He's just too busy.
Andy, what's Baron's favourite season?
So I'm Andy. I'm playing Baron, who's one of the Paladins. I think probably Baron's favourite season. I think it's probably summer, and it's just from occasional memories of enjoyable harvest festivals and just sort of he likes warmth. I mean, he might be ginger, but he likes warm climates.
Doesn't avoid the sun.
Doesn't avoid the sun too much. But he likes it when it's warmer. Likes a bit of a harvest festival. Yeah,
we love it.
Not a particularly strong affiliation of a particular like of any particular season.
Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. I play Kevin, the other Paladin, better one.
Fisticuffs at dawn. Let's go.
Cadman's favourite season is autumn. He likes the return of everything to the earth. It's that time where it starts getting cooler, the trees go into the regrowth cycle, and it's just more homely for him.
Nice. Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken. I play Liam O'Brien, the Ranger. It's a tough one. It doesn't really have any favourite season per se, but
does he have a favourite anything? Like
no, everything's shit. But I suppose
his least hated
is winter, because the vampires feel safer and they're much easier to hunt.
Yes. That is very true. The nights are longer. They get a little bit more brazen.
Exactly.
Very, very clever. All right.
That's when I do my best work.
Ben?
I feel I may have misunderstood this question because Hendrix's favourite season is Buffy season 4.
Fuck you.
I knew it. I
already made that joke before camera, so bollocks.
Oh, all right. I went there for that.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
You were.
I don't think he was at his computer. I think he was AFK. But the joke was already made, and you're a joke stealer.
I obviously heard it and internalized it, and then thought it was my own good
clearly,
yeah. Hendrix, I feel, is a dog for all seasons, but I guess spring is probably his favorite because it's the most likely time for all the bitches to be in heat, and even though he's had the snip and he doesn't really know what to do, he gets very excited about it all, and he kind of enjoys it. So. There we go.
That was the most direct answer. I wasn't expecting it.
Do you get that, Cameron?
Yeah. Thanks, Cameron.
You steal all the barbecue food.
Yeah. Cameron is going to have to put some notes on when this eventually goes onto YouTube. He's going to put some notes on as to which answer he likes best.
He likes the best.
I suspect it's Ben's at the present moment, but we'll see what Ian comes up with.
Hang on.
Well, we have the proper saga to come.
Don't buckle in. No. It's not going to be one word answer. And that's it. No explanation. Bang. Bang. Go on, Ian.
Okay. I play Daryl, the Blade Singer. Unsurprisingly, predictably, Daryl's favourite season is summer. His upbringing in the summer court and his close friendship with the summer night had given him an unshakable connection to the heat and passion of summer. Even after his exile from the Fey realm, he yearns for the long, warm evening revels with his slender-limbed Fey cousins.
See? You
That's
can
the
make a
way to do it.
4-page essay out of a single word answer. You lied to me. We love it. We love it. I know I don't get asked the questions because I don't play a character. I play all the bad guys.
You've not actually said who you are, but anyway.
My name's Bea. I'm the GM. I'm all the bad guys, and my favorite season is also autumn because my birthday's in autumn and so is Halloween. In fact, my birthday was 4 days ago. Woo, I'm old.
Happy
Not as old
birthday.
as you guys, obviously. Still the
Yeah,
youngest
nope.
here.
Yeah.
Enough to talk about age. Moving on.
Moving on. Okie dokie. Right.
Well,
Let's
I'm
do.
not the oldest.
Notice you still do the millennial pause though when you're starting up the video. Still got that.
Shut up. Let's do a very, very quick recap. Previous episode, previous session we did. Our players found out themselves running through the woods of Care City. They were pursued by a very, very large, eldritch-looking motherfucker. Big old crow that seemed to be looking for them. They managed to dodge it handily, though there was a couple of close calls. They didn't actually encounter the thing that the crow spat out, or raven, I think, probably closer to raven because of the size of it. But yeah, never encountered those things. Maybe they'll come up later. You found your way.
I think you
to the
described it
river.
as spitting out zombies.
I think you assumed zombies, but
Okay,
yeah, humanoids.
right. Okay.
yeah, zombies. You found your way to the river, walked along that. Liam leading the way and doing a very good job of it, cutting your time pretty much in half from what the Ruby Jacks had to travel, essentially. There was a brief, almost interaction. They found the campsite where the Ruby Jacks had obviously been perhaps attacked in the night or something. Everything was overturned. There was a weird undead presence, several undead presences, just a few feet away from this in the forest, that was identified as still living, quote unquote, undead creatures that were pinned halfway up trees by vines and spiky plant creatures, well, matter potentially, definitely magical in nature. It was determined that through the course of a spell that you discovered that this area was very much not normal plants anywhere, not a single one. You
They
then
weren't plants at all.
not a single plant to be seen. You then traveled a little bit further just to be away from that whole thing, and decided that it was just too dark to go any further and set up camp. And that's where we're going to start off. I'm going to ask, where exactly was the campsite? What does it, what I say, what does it look like? I know you said that you were looking for a place that wasn't close to too many plants and things.
Too many vines. We were searching for, weren't we? But as you said, there's no.
It's very difficult.
We're in a forest with vines everywhere, so that's
it's
limited.
One other thing, there's a note from Ben or Hendrix in the chat from the end of last session, which is no fires with at least one person with night vision on watch at all time.
No fires. Okay, that's actually quite important. So that's good to know.
I mean, that's just my suggestion. I'm willing to.
You don't make suggestions. Andy makes suggestions.
No, Andy makes capital S suggestions.
You made a lowercase s suggestion and did.
I don't make suggestions. I just provide guidance.
he expects you to follow
To the latter.
To the latter. Is that the plan then? No fires?
Well,
I'm good with that.
it's the risk of fire can attract things,
Always.
but fire can also drive things away. But seeing as I think Daryl can
It's not gonna
produce
drive-
fire quite quickly to drive
I
things
don't
away.
think fire's going to do much here.
No.
You you don't light your fires. Obviously, that it's a little chilly. It's not so so cold that anybody is going to suffer any like negative effects from it, but it's not hugely comfortable. I imagine for I think pretty much all of you, that's not really the most uncomfortable thing you've ever faced. Yeah.
It's not cold
Actually,
for me.
Hendrix is fine. Dogs are always fine. Like they don't need fires. and shit.
I'm just going to start pulling out things from my chest bag, or like a tarpaulin, a hammock, sleeping
Nice.
bag, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel the cold anyway.
Oh yeah. Liam doesn't feel the cold. He's the cold.
I am cold.
Not trying to copy Tom, copy Raphy, but Beren is doing something similar and is pulling out various bits of camping gear. I've actually got.
Beren pulls out whole marquees from his
And Hendrix turns around 3 times on top of Raphy's sleeping bag and plonks himself down.
Absolutely fine. Share body warmth. I don't care.
Love it.
It's actually I've got Beren has. If anyone wants food, he's got food, but there's the sort of pull tab self-heating food bags and stuff that you can get these days.
Survival rat pack type.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants a hot meal,
thermoactivate. What is it?
yeah. So he can basically. Does anyone want a hot meal?
Yeah.
Always.
I'm
Yeah, why
sorry,
not?
but yeah.
So sorry, that was Raphy, Liam. Is that Daryl as well?
Yeah.
And Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Did Cadman's just going to go and eat some bird he finds or something? Is he?
Roadkill.
I'm then going to pass around a couple of bottles of beer each as well. So a bottle of beer each as well.
Yeah, Raphy seems to be pulling out this magic trick of a fucking just pulling out stuff. And Beren is very familiar to you
The
in
Mary
terms
Poppins
of
thing.
it's a Mary
Yeah.
Poppins pocket of wonders.
I've used
Except
that
it doesn't seem to be coming from several different pockets like Beren's. Beren's seems to be a whole coat full of these pockets of just wondrous, no depth to them.
Well,
So
actually,
just keep going.
at one point, just to make it easier, he does pull an entire Bergen rucksack out of one of his inside pockets, and then and that's his camping bag.
Amazing. Never had to carry a thing in his life. Right.
Well, he did. That's why he got his coat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he got sick of it.
Cameron politely refuses your food, then pulls out a pot noodle and eats it dry.
Oh no! I
That's
don't know if that's Cadman or Kyle.
I wouldn't eat a dry pot noodle.
And he spends the
I'm
next
guessing
few minutes
Cadman's never
talking.
read the pot noodle. He just sees people eating them.
Yeah.
Spends the next 5 minutes speaking with dust flying
Yeah,
out
yeah.
his mouth.
Just
Cookie Monster style.
noodle dust. Yeah, you all sort of start to find a bit of comfort in this these moments of settling down. We'll set up the
Can I
watches, but we won't
use
skip.
my ranger skills to
Yep.
find a suitable place, like a safer place?
I think we did that last time.
Did
I think
we?
yeah,
Okay.
you did 21 survival. That was to
Did I?
find the place.
Oh, that was
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because
We're
that's
fine then.
exactly what
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I personally use that
Yeah,
skill for,
yeah,
which is to
perfect,
find
yeah.
somewhere safer.
But we're fine then. We're bound
Yeah.
to get. We're bound to get assaulted tonight though. So nowhere's safe. Nowhere's safe.
You want to
But
set
this is
up
the best thing you can do.
watches? Who's on watch? Who's on first watch? I'll do 3 watches.
Oh, it doesn't matter where
just-
I go.
just
They're
for
bound
ease.
to be ambushed.
I'll go
I'll-
first.
Where you go now?
I'll take last because I've got the worst eyesight when it comes to night vision. So at least I'll have something from the door.
I've got night vision goggles, so I'll take the first.
All right. Is it just Baron on the first?
No, I think it's 2 of us on each of the 3
Yeah.
watches.
Would make sense.
Darryl will set up for the
Okay,
first watch.
Daryl and Baron up for the first. Who will be on second? So there's Middle Night, which I think did someone
Okay.
claim Middle Night?
Yeah,
Okay,
dogs are always
because
up in the middle of the
Beach
night.
is dark.
Oh, Liam and Hendrix, okay, and then obviously that leaves Cadman and Raphy for the morning. You guys all happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wunderbar. Okay. So you settle down, you have your meals or whatever it is that you've brought with you. Some of you might not need to eat. Some of you have brought your own things, or Baron has very nicely provided for some of you. You chat amongst yourselves, maybe. There is a weird quietness to this forest. Those of you that have spent time in forests or woods, especially overnight, you know that there is often sounds of diurnal or at least nocturnal creatures out and about in the dark that will be hunting small rodents, or even the sounds of rodents themselves, bugs, creatures, birds, all sorts of things that come out specifically at these times of night. There is nothing, and that itself is very creepy. If you were to listen very, very closely, the only background noises would be the river, which is quite soft considering. Again, there's no large rocks to make it rapids. There is the occasional distant flutter, but it stops after it gets dark, which you can guess from what you've seen, these small flocks of birds that roam around, and very, very, very subtly, the odd roaming insect, which is probably the only things that you will hear in this forest. Is there anything that you wish to talk about on watches and things like that? We'll go with or anything that you want to prepare for, either like if you've got alarm spells or anything like that.
No.
This is
Yes.
a pre-warning.
It's not a bad shout. Oh,
Not a bad shout.
you have looked at that before.
I did and forgot because we've been 2 weeks.
The only time I'm going to remind you after that, I'm just going to kill you.
Minus for what?
Yeah, I guess in fairness, I will cast alarm as a ritual,
Yep.
and marker. It's actually only a 20-foot, 20-foot square on the floor with some silver wire that I pull out of my pouch.
There is a you can do it so I believe you can do it so that the named people can go in and out without issue. Is that right?
Yeah.
So anything else that might cross it, so it doesn't necessarily have to be like around specific, like people can have their feet sticking out of that space.
Yeah.
So you're all comfortable in it and not all sardined. It just means that any presences that maybe none of you have, whatever.
Don't get hit points back automatically when you rest, do you? You have to use your hit dice, or do you get long rest? You get all your
long
hit points
rest.
back.
You just
Okay,
auto, all the way to the end. But I will tell you at the end that you can press that button, so don't press it just yet, because there might be dickery.
There might be dickery.
Never.
No, I was just asking for the purpose of I've still got spell slots and healing, but we know. It's all gravy, baby. Let's go. Even though Liam expects an ambush, it's a bit meta using healing up before bed.
Not necessarily. You could just be very well prepared. But
yeah.
Oh, B, I am going to charge the smartphone as well.
You're going to charge the smartphone?
Yeah.
How much?
You never know.
How do you charge it?
I've got a battery pack.
Oh, you got the fucking nerd. Okay.
Of course, I've got a battery pack.
Will the battery pack work here though?
We'll find out.
Seems to.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Yeah, seems to. There's 0 signal on this thing.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's interesting that the battery pack works, and which is just simply a battery, whereas technology doesn't, like circuitry.
Well, my night vision goggles seem to work.
Yeah.
So
I shall turn my phone off to preserve the battery because clearly that's important.
okie dokie. You turn that off. You'll settle down for the evening. Obviously,
Yep.
Daryl has cast this alarm spell.
Yeah. I also want to have a bit of a chat with Summer.
Yep.
Just in the off chance that she knows anything about Bubble Realms and this one in particular, Care City.
Okay.
Um,
So are you having this conversation out loud or away from the camp or just there?
No, I do. It's sort of softly spoken. I don't want to disturb other people's sleep, but I'm doing it out loud. I always found it much more natural to talk to her out loud.
Okay. Yeah. You sit with your the sword at any time you know that she is awaiting any advice to give.
Okay, so I say, well, first off, Lady Summer, my apologies for the rude use we've been making of your abilities.
At least I am being used. It's much more rude to leave me so dusty and unused for so long.
Yeah,
Unbecoming of a future knight of the summer court.
Yeah, I understand that, but well, in this mortal realm, it's not usual for a man of my age to be walking around with a big staff. So, hey, I'll promise to try and make more use of you when we get back. I'm not sure if you're aware of where we are. We've moved from the mortal realm to a bubble realm, namely Care City. And I appreciate your history may have intersected with realms of this type.
Care City is a name I do recognise. It was long lost before I was made, but I do remember some portions of its history. There is a memory I have. It is taking a lot for me to recall. I remember there being a goddess, someone who claimed this land. She made it. It was once part of Fairy. She cut it from Fairy and claimed it as her own. It was her birthright when the Tuatha De Danann had their offspring. Many of them claimed, and then their offspring claimed more pieces of Fairy, and that's really when the Feylands became truly in turmoil. Many allied themselves with the houses, and that's how the houses were formed. I do remember the goddess, this specific goddess, she was very powerful, but she didn't ally herself. In fact, she was very staunchly outside of the politics of Fairy. I can't remember a great deal else. I would have to meditate to be able to give you more information, but it may, depending on how much information you require, it may mean that my abilities won't be as easily accessed for a while. A
Okay.
number of hours.
For the time being, leave your meditation. I think your other more immediate abilities may be called upon in the near future. I don't want to risk that.
I will hold off.
Right. When she created this world, though, she wouldn't have filled it with undead creatures, would she?
No, she was very much against the undead.
So
Is that what has happened here?
It would seem that all we've encountered here is undead life forms, and the place has no real life of its own. There's no ecosystem, no birds, wildlife, or very little. And the only wildlife that there appears to be is twisted. So
she was a good patron of many druids. I don't know, perhaps if that is what has happened in her absence. I do not feel a presence of anything to do with the person that I'm trying to remember. She was, you could tell that she's really struggling trying to figure out the name of this person that keeps evading her. I remember she had something to do with the full moon. And she had something to do with druids, and I believe she had a connection with the Fianna.
Fianna.
Again, this would take me meditating to give you more information. I am probably best used to you with my abilities in your hands.
Again, my apologies for prior use and my thanks for any aid you've given us. Please now go back to whatever rest you need.
I will be ready when you need me. And her presence dulls and you feel that she's come to rest.
I just check across the campsite to Beren to see what the action is.
Beren will have actually been deliberately trying not to listen, because if Daryl is involved in some sort of conversation with someone else, Beren will have been trying to ensure that there's someone paying full attention to anything trying to sneak up on us or anything, because I'm assuming the others have already gone to sleep. So
we'll say at this time everybody's kind of resting, gone to sleep.
Yeah, so he will have been on full alert and trying actively not to listen in, because he doesn't want to be distracted.
I'll get you to, I mean, to be honest, you're both rolling perception checks anyway, but we'll just count that covers that portion of the time when Daryl was also in conversation.
So you want perception checks?
Yeah, from both of you. Or if you wanted to, one of you can give the other an advantage. It is entirely up to you.
I think knowing, suspecting how perceptive Beren is, I'll give him advantage.
Right.
Thank you, Beren. You may roll with advantage. You son of a bitch. You didn't need it. It was the first one. No. It was the first one. Okay.
Every week, every session, I just wonder about this dice roller.
Yeah, I know, right? I think Ken's right, though. I think it is geared more towards the crits. Just either end, just to,
Apparently, mathematically, it's not. The algorithm is...
Right, okay. Maybe we're just looking too far into it.
Yeah, but you need hundreds of thousands of rolls to balance it out, so it can still.
Yeah. To be fair, we do a lot of rolling.
But it's apparently one of the fairest mathematical algorithms from
all the virtual tables.
Says who?
That they
roll 20's PR team.
Yeah, exactly that.
Fair enough. We won't
Says
You
me.
won't
Who
say
just
anything.
made it
Roll
up.
20's the best thing ever.
Uh,
Give us free subscription.
No, it's
No,
not.
no sponsors. No. Okay.
Oh yes, sorry, it is.
Yes, yes,
wonderful.
yes.
We love it. We love it. It's the best. It's the best thing ever. Don't use
So,
Foundry, whatever you do.
Baron and Daryl, you sit and you cover like 180 degrees each of your where you're supposed to be looking, and again this eerie quietness, apart from the odd very very quiet rustles of insects rooting around in the undergrowth. No other creatures. The birds seem to have stopped flying because it's nighttime. This red moon, occasionally covered by a cloud. It still gives this reddish hue to everything. It doesn't make it difficult to see. So when you start seeing the odd movement, it's easy to catch. You do see far off through the trees a movement, a large something blocking the light for a second and then stop. 20 minutes go by, 40, doesn't happen again, but it's quite far off.
Baron also knows enough to rely at night quite heavily on his. Bear in mind, he's got a sort of everything he's seeing is through a sort of green glow of night vision.
Yes.
And he will occasionally flick to take the night vision off,
Between
and
them.
just, but he'll also rely quite heavily on his hearing.
Yes, and it is quite easy because again, I mean, unless there's any very noisy snorers amongst the group, it is.
I kick Hendrix when he starts snoring.
And when he farts, obviously.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all dogs fart in their sleep. So.
All is canon. was that a dog moan or a fart?
That's a dog fart. I think.
Dog fart, yeah. Take a pic.
It's a very good
dear.
dog fart, Ben.
Quickly for your information, Cadman is asleep stood up.
Oh, that's creepy as fuck.
Oh, that's really weird.
I love it.
What, just straight up or like
That's-
crouched?
Crouching,
Crouched.
doing the proper gargoyle thing.
Yes, and
That's
actually,
superb.
Cadman looks indistinguishable from a statue when he does it. Like you start to wonder if perhaps you've imagined this statue coming to life and just hangover style, just been carrying it around with you. But like, it's he doesn't breathe, or it doesn't seem to.
That's
just
extremely
literally.
dangerous. Extremely dangerous, because at some point Hendrix is going to need a pee.
Man.
I'm tempted to lean gnarling over Hendrix just to freak out and wake up.
Yeah. I mean, Cadman has often woke up with various bird poops and graffiti, a can
Halloween's
of
the worst.
Budweiser in his mouth. Yeah, Halloween is
Cone
the
on
worst.
his head.
Cone on his head.
Yeah,
I was just
cone on his
thinking
head.
it's gotta be
Yeah,
the cone on the head.
He's been around Chatham too long. He's used to it.
The other thing is, I forgot, I've also asked Remy to go and sit in the trees and keep an eye.
Yep.
And I'll spend a fair bit of time looking through his eyes and then cutting back to my own. And
Yes.
So I would.
I think you both see pretty much this same thing.
Baron will have made sure that Daryl is aware of it.
Yeah.
But clearly he's already so.
After that first time, and there's about, like I said, about 40 minutes afterwards, in a completely separate area from where you originally saw this thing, you do see again this blotting out, and it's slow. A large object or something has passed between the trees, and it's slightly closer this time, and you can hear that.
Can I make
creek.
it? I mean, I got a natural 20. Can I make
Mhm, yeah.
anything of the shape of it?
Hendrix.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. I'd say as you're staring intently, you catch it, and suddenly you're locking eyes. You're holding your breath. You everything senses are so sharp and pointed in this direction. And luckily, clouds have just parted, and this red light does shine down just enough for you to make out a truly huge, looks like a tree, but it's moving, and it's got legs, but the four legs are long and woodish, and it moves so slowly and so it's almost gliding through the forest. There is roots coming off as parts of its woodish limbs, and you can see the outline of branches, full leaves on the top of it. This, you've seen films, you've read books. You would describe perhaps this as an Ent type character, but then mixed with like a creature rather than a human. Where Ents are described as tall walking humanoids, this thing is on fours with elongated front arms and shorter back legs.
Okay.
It's not coming your way, but you've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Unless Daryl disagrees, I propose we just stay here for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it gets closer, then we'll worry about it then, and we need to warn the who is it, Liam and Hendrix.
Yes.
Point it out to them when we hand over to them.
Yep.
Yep. Perfect. And as a point, actually, stupid cat. As a point, I know that you've brought food with you. Water. Are you drinking from pouches or?
No, I've got water bottles on my equipment list, so I wasn't intending on. I have some I can share, but I'm hoping other people have got some water as well.
I would say if any of you wanted to bring water, you can say
I've got
you
a
have
water
done
skin.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It is something I imagine that, except from maybe Hendrix. I mean, well, no, Hendrix, you have a little pocket to put stuff in, don't you? I think.
No.
he's got a
Did we say that?
little barrel on his collar.
Like, well, it's a little thing on his collar. It's a little bit like a. Did we? In that case,
So,
you haven't.
I just ponce off other people.
Fair.
He does.
Just give the big old dog eyes.
the
Excuse me,
dog
I'm gonna let
eyes.
the cat out.
Yeah, so
because he's crying.
Tongue guy.
No, not that way.
I pour some water into the jug of doom for him.
Well, talking about the jug of doom.
Had to mention it. Oh no.
Ugh. Don't worry, it was going to be mentioned. Daryl, both you and Baron get to the end of your shift. Nothing else has specifically happened. You've seen this thing twice now. You can't identify it again. It's really hard to see it if you're looking for it. It only is when it's moving. And either it's moving elsewhere or it's waiting or...
How close was it to us the second time? You said it was closer, but how close is closer?
I'd say... 90 to 100 foot.
Okay, that's quite okay. So when it comes to wake up,
Second one.
Liam Liam and Hendrix. There's some kind of treant type creature wandering around out, and we last saw it about 100 feet that way. Moves very slowly on all fours.
I'll look at the direction that it's pointing.
We've seen
you
it
don't see
twice.
anything at the moment.
We've seen it twice, so it may have moved on. It may be moving round us. The first time we saw it was at the same direction as the second time.
No. So where you first saw it, and it was like this direction. The second time you saw it, it was like that direction, like really far away, but didn't see it move between these two. It was just one tree this way, and then one tree over here. Other than that, you've not seen it move at all, which is weird because it's huge. But
Okay.
it's
So keep an eye out for that while we get some sleep.
Good night. Good luck.
I just got to go AFK for a second.
Typical. I'll come back to that in a bit then. Beren and Daryl go to sleep. Hendrix and Liam, you've both been called to do your watch.
Are there any scents, like smells?
Yep.
To do with that, what they pointed out where it was, or that creature.
Okay. You can, if you're just sitting where you are and doing it, you can make me a perception check.
Okay.
And you can do it with advantage because it is scent based.
Okay.
Liam, you can do the same if you wish, and you can either rely on scent or thingy, but it is a straight roll for you, I think.
21.
No, I'm just going to be aware and looking around. I'm not going to bother with scent.
Okay. So just in this respect about what's happening right now with the creature that was seen, you sniff the air. This smell that you had before, this very sweet, sickly smell, not unpleasant, does seem to be somewhat in the area of the two places that Beren and Daryl pointed out. So almost like there's it's dulled now because it doesn't seem to be there anymore. But that's
So are
scent.
these from the things that the bird sicked up?
Oh no. So
that's a different smell.
The things that the bird sicked up smelt real bad.
Okay.
Like make you vomit.
Yeah.
As soon as you smell it. This is different. This is very much almost like a perfume, but not quite. It's not manufactured. It's not chemically, or it's chemically, but like in a much more natural way.
Okay.
The sort of smell that when you go past a florist, that sort of smell, that sort of strength and intensity. I believe it was described to you as you'd walked past the place where you saw the undead up in the trees.
Oh yeah.
That smell. So it's a very similar to that smell, if not the same. And it has appeared now twice. It's sort of like little pockets of scent that have come and then gone. And at the moment you can't.
In a particular place.
No, it doesn't seem to. It's almost like it popped up, which is unusual. For your watches, again, I'll give you the option to either roll separately for perception, or one can give the other advantage.
Well, as soon as I already get advantage, I think we should roll separately just to
Can do, but it won't be advantage for sight-based things. Obviously, I can give you the smell like I just did, but you won't get advantage for sight-based things. The only advantage I think you get, you both have dark vision, so that it doesn't impede you at all. In fact,
I think Hendrix is more perceptive than me, being with his acute canine senses.
so yeah, you would then roll with perception advantage.
Yeah. I'll help you out. I'll help you out, Hendrix.
Thanks.
You keep your eyes peeled.
I'll do that.
I've got my bow drawn anyway. Out,
Okay.
not drawn, but bow out.
I know what you mean, like readied.
Yeah, in one hand, not with an arrow knocked for 8 hours.
Yeah. Yep. You're kind of sitting there waiting for anything to happen. This similar like occurrence to happen, and it does. Now it's somewhat closer to you, again in a different direction to what they were pointing at. You see about 60 foot away from you now. Very close, frankly. A little bit too close for comfort.
60 feet away.
Yeah. This huge, and because you guys are ready and looking for it, it's almost like 1 minute you're seeing just a stationary tree, and then it just starts moving by itself. The tree has been there the entire night, and it just starts moving. Where its trunk was, suddenly these two long elongated limbs come out. It moves forward. It's like the forest is shifting and moving, changing places, like a fucked up game of musical chairs, or musical statues, I should say. And it starts
more
moving.
than one of these things then?
Yeah.
You said
You could assume
looks
that
like the forest is moving.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the time, you're only seeing one, and it starts to move. And Hendrix, in fact, both of you, because your sense of smell is so strong, that smell, that perfumey smell, comes across very strong. And as it moves, because it's so close, it's like moving the undergrowth, and the vines that are all around you respond in a by tightening and moving and shifting slightly along with this thing, as if they're moving slightly out of the way for each of these things to move through the forest.
Can
and
I
it is
do a hunter's sense on it?
Sure.
Because within 60 feet.
Yeah, what does that do? And
as an action, choose a creature you can see within 60 feet. You immediately learn whether the creature has any damage, immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are if the creature is not hidden from divination magic.
Very, very cool. Hendrix, what were you saying? Sorry, Ben.
I was just going to ask, you say when the limbs come out and it moves through the forest, do they lift up, or do they stay sort of like roots moving through the ground and it's moving along like through the earth?
So yeah, it's very difficult to see, because obviously you can't quite see the bottom of it because the plants all around it and everything like that, but it does seem to be going from this trunk tall tree state into this creature moving, and then you have it as it disappears behind something else. It doesn't you're not seeing it go back to tree form again, if that makes sense. The roots must be moving with it. You would assume maybe still connected, but you would also maybe think, well, it can't be connected because it's moving. But yeah, it's very difficult to tell. Liam, as you look at this thing, and your hunter's eye checks for every part of it, how it moves, what is its purpose for moving, why is it moving, is it hunting something, is it being hunted, what is the situation here? You identify that this thing doesn't seem to have any eyes, so it is effectively blind. Senses, you would guess that it must have some sort of tremor sense. You probably guess from its roots, because being a plant, its tremor sense could probably go quite far, as you are in a forest full of vines and roots. What other things does this ability give you?
Any damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities?
It's a plant. They don't like fire. That one's a dead giveaway. It is also magical, and usually magical creatures are generally not harmed by any form of mundane damage.
Yep.
However, I believe you all do extra special damage anyway. And that's pretty much it. Let me just double check, make sure I'm not giving you incorrect information here.
Your camera's gone out of focus, B.
I know. I'm not going to turn it off in case I upset Andy.
I thought you could do something without turning
No,
it off.
I have to turn it off and then turn it back on again. I'll do it. Actually, I will do it because
Andy's not here.
Yeah, Andy's not here, so you got to
just say it wasn't you.
It wasn't
It'll
me.
come back and then we
like,
move
God
around.
damn it!
No, I don't know what happened, Andy. It was
Yeah,
fine.
It was weird.
We did nothing.
Right. Oh no. Do you know what I think I've done?
When you go AFK, Andy? You can't.
Yeah, you can't leave. Not for a moment. Not.
We'll know whether he watches his back, won't we? Whether he actually watches them.
Here we go. Come on.
He's actually not away at all. He's just round the corner out of a camera shot, listening to everything we say.
Yeah.
Here we bastards.
Go. So, yeah, vulnerability is fire. It's resistant to non-magical damage. That was it. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, memory's good. Let's just double check with him, make sure I haven't messed up the feed. Hey, am I in the same spot, Andy?
No, not according to me.
Oh, is it not?
What's happened?
I had to turn my camera off for a second.
Right. Okay, leave it with me. I'll readjust.
I don't know whether it has done anything, but it'll be fine. Yeah, that's what you get. Say again.
I will whisper to Hendrix. I think he's got some kind of tremor sensor. So if you're going to be moving, move very, very stealthily, because it's going to feel you move around.
Hendrix just nods.
Hendrix, who can speak in people's minds, nods.
Yeah. I mean, I can.
Doesn't mean he has to. That's true. You stay and you watch where this thing had disappeared behind a tree and vanished, apparently, or at least moved in such a way. Well,
sorry, a tree disappeared behind a tree.
A tree disappeared behind another set of trees that obscures your view and then doesn't reappear anywhere within your view is probably a better way to put that, sort of.
Are they getting closer?
Yes.
So each one of the three that's been witnessed has been closer than the
last. Yeah. You guys haven't really moved, unless anybody wants to tell me otherwise. You guys haven't really moved from your spot, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no.
Now it's gotten several hours.
Like these things are spiraling in and getting closer. Would that be a good estimation from where we've seen them on the distance?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good estimation of what's happening. In fact, you have a look around and You chose specifically an area that was not full of vines, like only a few. There is many more vines now. There is like, for some reason, it much closer. Almost imperceptible. In fact, very much imperceptible to your eyes because they're moving so slowly.
But
it's like a tide coming in.
When you looked, so
yeah.
Would I?
In fact, you can see from Daryl's alarm spell that he's put up, which is very faintly glowing gold color. I would say, if that's correct, Daryl. So, yeah, we'll just say that.
Silver, rather
silver, silver. Yeah, there you go. That had set a line for you to kind of judge by over the past couple of hours. It's very subtle, but they are definitely getting closer, and it is like maybe things are arranging themselves to surround you.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what I was asking. Is that's what it looks like? These things are gonna definitely surround us. I'll say that to Hendrix.
Okay.
And do you think we should wake the others up? Because it looks like this thing is surrounding us. They're taking their time, but how long do I reckon? Judging by how long it's taken to do this so far, will we break camp and go before they've closed?
I'd say it's been approximately well, if it's in 3 hour stints. Sorry, not 3 hour stints. In 3 watches, I'd say each watch is probably about 3 hours actually. Would that be about right? 9 hours?
Yeah.
Roughly. Maybe a little bit less. So in about 4 and a bit hours, they've now moved to a point where it's not necessarily so close to you, but all of your trails and exits that you might have gone, there now seems to be just more undergrowth, more hedge, more bush. The scenery is shifting, so that you're in like a little bit of an oasis, but you're becoming surrounded for sure.
Right. Okay.
Can I activate my mind speaky thing to everyone again?
Your mind speaky thing? Yes, I believe you could do that just off of your do you want to just roll quickly for your thing now? Ow. For how long it lasts, so we know before we forget about that.
2 hours.
2 hours. So for the next 2 hours, you have this link.
And that's everyone but Baron, isn't it?
Well, it's whoever Hendrix chooses. So if you wanted to keep that as, or you can change it up this time. It doesn't have to stay the same each time.
No, I'll include Baron and leave out Cadman purely for the reason that if he does get jumped, he's a big lump of stone.
Very true. He's also not moving. Less likely to be caught, as it were, I suppose. Or you'd like to believe anyway.
More likely to get overgrown.
And can I hold an action so that if any sudden attack or anything happens, that the first thing that I do is to shout very loudly "attack" in my mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think we should wake the others up, Hendrix?
We can communicate psychically now. So
these things are getting closer. They're definitely surrounding us. At the moment, we've probably got maybe we can get a way out. But if we leave it much longer, we're going to be completely surrounded, and it's going to be very difficult to cut our way out. Plus,
so
there's these tree things.
You won't be able to use your special ability thing to find us a way through.
like I say, I possibly could now, but give it a few more hours, I don't think even I'll be able to find a way through.
I guess we'll have to then.
Well, I may be able to, but
What,
probably not.
what do we think, Bea? Have we got time to sort of let them get enough rest, or?
That's a very good question. You think with the time that you have, I mean, these things haven't shown to be aggressive towards you, but they are obviously surrounding you. You guess that these things will probably completely surround you in the next 2 hours.
And how long left of our?
You guys have about an hour and a half ish left.
Okay.
Of our watch, and then we got
Yeah.
another watch after us.
And then, so Raphy and Cadman would
So
potentially be the ones that would then be what, if anything, instigates. But by that time, it could be too late. You don't know what the situation is. It could be that everything's fine, and it's just this is the way the forest works.
So would that be enough time for people to have rested themselves? Do you think?
No, they would have to go through they would have to have at least the 8 hours rest. It can be interrupted, but not too many times. So if you were to
wake everyone up and move to a new campsite and go back to sleep again.
You could do that. That's a potential that if that's what you were thinking of doing. But it's also very dark, and you have the reason that you stopped in the first place was because it was very difficult for some people in your party. Liam, your ability to traverse the forest isn't as good here because of the nature of these magical plants and the. So it's although you are still very skilled, it's not as strong as you would like it. You don't feel so comfortable with it. So your options are either confront what's there now, move, and potentially still have to confront it anyway, or wait and
see what happens.
Yeah.
Can I get any idea with my background and skill in nature, and it's my natural terrain? I know it's not natural. I know it's alien and magical and weird.
Yeah.
But whether can I make a roll or a judgment or a guess or a skill check whether this is whether this is, as you say, this is natural for the forest and it's just happening.
Oh, I see what you mean, or they've sensed some sort of.
They've sensed something, and this is them gradually moving to feed, or. I know it's alien from. I haven't experienced this before, but it still probably follows. Although it's magical, it still probably follows a lot of similar rules of fauna.
I think it's less that. It's more the fact that you have spent time in the wildings.
Right.
That's probably where your knowledge could be coming from, because this is so alien, obviously, to normal plants. It just wouldn't follow the same rules at all, really.
Okay.
But I will allow you to make a nature check. I know it's intelligence based, but unfortunately, that's them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks. Not survival.
No, I'm afraid. So this is knowledge based about what it is.
Yeah. Not stealth.
No, stealth. No.
Insight.
Insight, maybe. How is that? What does the tree feel like? You know.
Hey, investigation. Any skills that are other than
roll
nature.
the fucking nature check.
So is a ranger who knows nothing about nature?
To be fair, nature, along with religion and things like that, are based off of intelligence, which obviously rangers generally, they're wisdom-based characters generally.
Yeah, true.
True. I always found it a little bit weird, but it does make sense when somebody explained it to me. It's still pretty good. 18's a pretty good roll.
I know. It's fucking good. It's amazing roll.
Fucking good.
Fucking good roll.
even with that roll, you have no idea whether
Got
this
no
is
idea.
this natural thing because you haven't been to this specific place before. However, you do know from being in places like the Wildings and magical lands that have this kind of terrain that have a mind of their own, as it were. Their behavior is almost like stalkerish. It is very deliberately cutting you off and surrounding you. This is not just a shifting in the foundations of a house. This isn't just the natural things. It has a deliberate pattern you've identified, is deliberately trying to surround you without alerting you. So with that knowledge, you can tell that this thing is probably aware of you and is trying to, much like when flowers Venus flytraps and such, they'll stay very still until you're inside, and then they'll so meanwhile, you're deliberating over what to do in this moment. To our sleeping peoples, this place, being magical in nature, it's very very difficult to sleep, knowing that, one, you're on a mission. Two, the place that you're in is very, very dangerous. You could die at any moment. Truly, it's very difficult to sleep. However, making it even more uncomfortable, Daryl, the feeling of just being in the most haunted of mansions, you can't get rid of it. It's like someone is looking over your shoulder and it's just uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And anybody that's actually, in fact, all of you, because you're all in that 20-foot little square, do have this sense about you during the whole day. And because you're now resting, it's even more pronounced. You're able to go to sleep. But you seem to all be having nightmares. Hendrix and Liam, before when you woke up, you two were also feeling this very unsettled feeling. Hendrix, you were doing that little dog nightmare thing.
Oh,
Your little paws
I feel
going.
sad for me.
I feel sad for him too. You were chasing a man on a bike with sausages, and you could never catch it.
Never reach it.
It was horrible. You're always out of reach. Worst nightmare ever. No, I imagine actually Hendrix's nightmares are strangely far more sinister.
The sausages.
The
sausages were not real.
Yeah, the sausages weren't real. They were ghost sausages. Each of you having
the sausages were eaten,
being thrown into these nightmares, and for some of you, memories that you don't particularly wish to recall. Raphy imagines himself back in that dark place, the smell of blood. My phone's ringing and I can't see it. Sorry. It'll be fine. Raphy, you could smell that horrible, horrible smell of blood and bile wading through it. It's up to your hips. And you look down at your hands, covered in blood and this black sticky substance. You can hear screams all around you. The jewelry on your hands and on your wrists are caked. But you have your spear. And you look around. You're not usually scared of these memories because they are usually good reminders of your siblings and your friends that you fought with down in Shibalba. But in this particular dream, you are alone. And that scares you. You've never been alone, not down here. Cadman, even in your stony stillness, you very rarely dream. But there is a thread of fear that seems to be the only thing still running through this very still body of yours. And you start to have almost visions of this land that you're in, this island, suddenly trembling and the earth moving and cracking and opening and parts of it falling and sinking into itself, and it roils like water, but it's just huge mounds of earth rotating over itself, destroying everything on it, and eventually succumbing to water from the edges as the sea takes over. Not something you've ever dreamt before. Daryl, this feeling finally lets you sleep, though it's not restful. You are running through the mansion of Sir Francis, and you're running through the hallways after hallways that are for some reason all connected much more impossibly than the actual mansion is. This is definitely a nightmare. You're running and you're screaming out for Sir Francis and not getting a response. And in fact, every door that you open is another empty room, trashed and broken furniture, but dust laying on it as if it has been like this for some time, and nobody has been to check. Nobody except you has come to this place. As you're running through each room, opening each door, screaming this name, you finally come to the large drawing room where you leave your letters for Sir Francis. You throw open the doors, and there you see, with a very cruel smirk on her face, large, flowing red ball gown, your mother, holding a knife, blood dripping from it, a body on the floor. She smirks and laughs at you. And before you can get there, the dream fades into another nightmare, into another nightmare, into another nightmare. It is continuous. Baron, for you, it's somewhat different. You often have nightmares. You learnt to deal with them a long time ago. Images of your time at battle with your saber, with your guns, with friends at your side, people that you trust. But this is very different. This is not your memory, or at least not one that you remember.
Mm-hmm.
You are standing before a town square. There is many people all around. For some reason, you can't catch a glimpse at anybody's faces. They always seem just turned too slightly away from you. You look up on the stage in the middle of this town square, and you can see a gallows, and there is 4 noose hanging. Several people stand to the side. One is the executioner, who would pull the lever on these, or the hangman himself, as it were, leading out the first of these 4 people. You're somewhat of a distance away. Not too far, but far enough that you can't quite make out the faces.
And it's hangman, as in noose.
Yes.
And looking at people's clothes,
Mm.
is this? How long ago is this?
This is the 16th century, roughly. You are watching the crier shout out to the crowd the assumed crimes of these people: sedition, treason, witchcraft. You start to make your way forward. You catch a glimpse as you move through the crowd with purpose, and somebody to the side of you, to either side of you, a few people away, also are following you. You are all in the same formation, moving through this crowd to get to the gallows before it happens. And you know it will happen, but you must save her before she is hung. She has a noose over her head, and all 4 are now lined up, and she's looking out desperately into the crowd, looking for a friendly face, but she doesn't see you. This is how it is different. This is where things are not quite as they, or at least not quite as you remember them happening.
Can I direct the dream at all?
Um,
Well, so first of all, do I recognise the face? Is it one of the Ashcroft family?
you do not you do recognize the face. As far as you're aware, it is not the Ashcrofts. You do not remember how or why you became so entangled with the family. But you do know that there is an oath made and kept from both sides,
Mm-hmm.
from yourself and from the family. No, this is something different. This is a woman who needs to be saved. You can't remember why. And as you get closer, you remember certain parts of this. You cut down the guards. You and your companions save at least 3 of those 4 people, especially the woman, who's very important. And you manage to get away. But in this, something different happens. This nightmare, someone moves in front of you, facing you, not facing the way of the spectacle, facing you deliberately, stands deliberately in your way to prevent you from getting there. It is somebody in a hood, and your brain is gliding over their face. You cannot make any features. You can't tell if this person is male, female. You can't tell how old they are. You can't tell any other features. You don't know if they're human. All you see is a smirk, deliberate, hateful, and your brain sears with pain. And you feel the blood dripping down from your nose, and the rage and the heartbeats, yours and his, together. You are filled with rage. And then the dream starts again. And no matter how much you try to influence it, nothing happens. You carry on having this dream over and over and over again. Each time the pain of the headache gets worse. You can't seem to identify this person. You can't get to the stadium. You can't get to the gallows in time. And just as it starts to repeat itself, you hear the people drop.
But and I recognise that it's actually a memory that's being twisted within the dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
You believe it's being twisted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I do Liam? I can't remember. No, Liam. This was when you were asleep, by the way. I forgot about it.
Well, I
when
realised that.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I don't actually sleep. I just kind of
rest. I just rest my eyes.
Yeah. And then kind of meditate or whatever.
Yes. So you are you do. So do you think that you sleep enough to dream or meditate enough to dream, or do you think that perhaps
Yes,
it's
definitely dream.
yeah. So you kind of in this pseudo awareness where you never quite really rest, in a sick twisted way. You'll rest when you're dead.
Yeah.
At least properly.
Properly dead. Yeah.
Yeah. For you, these dreams are not all that unfamiliar, but they are especially painful today. You see your family, and you see from your vantage point being held up. I'd say roughly you were strapped to a beam of the house, and you can see below you your family being slaughtered.
Not
They're
just
No.
slaughtered, but yeah.
There is a sick, twisted thrill that these vampires are having playing with your family. It's sickening, and you watch.
Brings back all the bad memories that I've compartmentalized and put away.
Yeah, it is a fresh wound again, as you have been starkly reminded of that time. Your own pain from the lacerations you suffered, from the torture you had suffered, means nothing in this moment, as all you wish to do is wrench yourself free from your binds and to kill every last one of them. But you can't. And instead you are forced to watch again and again as this nightmare repeats itself for you as well. This moment when your family is killed. And it is horrific.
And you wonder why I'm fucking miserable.
Nothing's gonna be good ever again. Hendrix, because I'm not leaving you out either.
Oh, what, man? I'll get another dream and the sausage one?
Yeah. The sausage one was made up. This was the real one. I'm sorry.
What's the one?
You, this isn't a dream that you've ever had before. It's very strange. In it, you can see there is. You're walking through Highbury Park in London. It's very dark, and usually you trot along, you got your little circuit, you go around getting your sausages and whatnot from friends, and then you make your way back to the estate where the rest of the goblins are, and you curl up for the night. Except this time the fur, I should say, on the back of your neck stands up as you feel immediately there is something watching you, something predator-like stalking you. And as you look around and peer into the dark, you can see there's 2 foxes and their reflective eyes are just barely glinting in the headlights and street lights passing by. Well, the headlights are passing by, the street lights aren't passing by. That would be weird. But you look around, and there is an owl in a tree. Is also staring at you. There are cats sat staring at you. They're not doing anything. They're not running from you or chasing you. They're just staring. And it is haunting. And you get the sensation of something trying to contact you through your psychic connection. It's screaming. And as it touches your thoughts, you recoil from just the severity of this feeling. It is not pleasant. And you can't get out of this park. Everywhere you go, it just gets further and further away to the gate. You never reach it. And the more you look around, the more you are seeing these wildlife creatures just staring at you, not doing anything. And this presence just there.
Is the thing that's trying to contact me malevolent feeling, or is it?
You can't tell.
Something about it that's.
There is it's harsh, and it makes you scared because of its nature. Nothing's attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
But is it always wise to trust things that are trying to gain access to your mind?
Yeah.
That is up to you. But this is a dream, and one you can't control. And instead, it repeats and repeats, and none of your choices are different. It all stays the same and is just largely unpleasant for everybody involved. Pleasant dreams.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Liam and Hendrix, you are coming to the end of your watch. Are you waking up Raphy and Cadman, or are you waking up everybody?
Starting by waking up Raphy and Cadman, because they're next anyway.
Okay. You may explain the situation to them.
Yeah, and I will explain the situation that there are these trees and vines encircling us. They've been doing it since Baron and Daryl were on watch. They're getting closer. I think it's inevitable that they will end up springing some kind of trap or something. It's gonna happen before we've had our full rest period. I don't think we can move because it's still dark, so I think we're gonna have to. My advice is that we wake everybody up and deal with it now.
If yeah, it's a fucking nightmare anyway, so fuck it.
Oh, I know. I was having a horrible nightmare before I woke up. I'd rather be awake, in fact.
Yeah.
No, I never want to sleep here again.
Sleep well.
So what's that, Kyle?
I don't think this place allows people to sleep well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Looks like we're going to be fucking exhausted, so we might as well get everybody up and just, as you say, deal with it. Obviously plants and fire, but is there a way of like doing a controlled burn?
I don't think it's going to get carried away here. There's too much plant and fire. You're not going to burn the place down.
Right.
And even if you do, it's fucking evil. I'd actually burn this whole place down, but I doubt it's too.
How close are these vines to my hammock?
To your hammock.
Yeah. Like, are they going on to the actual the hammock lines now?
Yeah, I'd say. In fact, when you woke up, you could see that it started to creep down from each end. Cadman, when you woke up, it was like almost up your shins, but just very thin ones, not enough to actually hold you there. But enough to be like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. So let's. Listen. The growth's obviously too much.
We could also talk with in our minds, thanks to Hendrix, so we can keep it quiet. But that's the thing. Let's get Baron and Darren up first, and then we can organise a plan. Stay where you are, though. These things have some kind of I guarantee you'll have some kind of tremor sense. So if we to be safe, stay where you are, don't move. We'll wake the others up and tell them not to move either, whilst we organise what we are going to do. That way, these things won't know that we're
moving.
Don't tell the plants.
Don't tell the plants.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Don't move.
I'll stay in the hammock. It's fine. It's no worries.
Mentally
Roll for bladder.
use the connection that we've got to wake up. Who's not in it? Ben, who's not in there?
Cadman, I left out.
Cadman.
He's already awake.
Cadman's awake anyway. So I'll mentally wake up Daryl and Baron. Hey guys, wake up. We're about to be ambushed by plants. Don't move when you wake up.
What I will do is
those trees you saw earlier got closer, and there's vines everywhere now. Okay. It's only a matter of time before they do something, so we may as well deal with it now. We're not going to get a whole night's sleep in. And I guess you probably haven't been having a good night's sleep anyway, boys. So don't move when you wake up.
You know what Liam reminds me of?
What?
You know the young ones, Neil. I'm gonna go stick my head in the oven. Nobody loves me.
B.
Looks a bit like Neil.
I'm gonna hold up the token, the hagstone.
Okay.
And actually have a look through it.
Yep.
Okay. Gives me 10 minutes of true sight.
You look through this thing. Your eyesight still isn't great because obviously it's dark.
Yeah.
But everywhere you're looking, nothing is illusioned. There's nothing here that obviously you can see Cadman for what he is. There's nothing here plant-wise, anything surrounding you. Hang on a second. You do look through it, and it does look slightly brighter to you. Like weirdly, like looking through it, there is more light through it than what you're actually seeing. And although it's getting lower in the sky, as you hold it up to the moon, it is a silver moon that you can see through.
Not a red moon.
Not a red moon.
Okay.
But that is the only difference. And it's very subtle because the moon is quite a bit getting lower now, obviously getting to the end of this evening.
Okay. If everyone's awake, then I'll do this through the I can't do it through the mind link, so I'll actually this be out loud.
Yep.
So there's definitely some sort of illusion magic going on, not from the plants. Those things are moving, like Liam was saying. but the moon isn't red; it is silver, like it is in the normal world, not in the this pocket realm. So there's definitely some sort of I don't know, maybe miasma or something over the land, and it's designed to freak people out. If there's an illusion of a blood moon, it's not going to help with that.
There must be some ruler of this realm. Maybe it is just their preference.
No, we didn't find anything else about that, did we?
Like this, but just make it red.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I
we
like
actually,
red.
Who did we find out if there was an owner of this pocket realm?
Well, it was created by this goddess that. Actually, you probably don't know that.
That was.
I'll shut that up.
Ian was talking himself to Summer, wasn't he? We don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And Baron deliberately didn't listen.
I believe actually, and I'll help Ben out on this one. Hendrix did some research on this place before you guys came. Let me just.
Oh, I told everyone what I'd found out, so
I
everyone
know.
should know.
Everyone should know, which is why I'm just.
I don't remember on the note.
Is it on your notes?
Let me check.
I'll give a small bump, but everything other than that.
Not on my notes.
Okay.
Oh no, that was the house. Found diary entries 1709. Found healing spring overrun with undead. Something happened from King Arthur's time. Is this what am I the right thing?
Sorry, read that out again. Say it again.
Found diary entries 1709. They found the healing spring overrun with undead. Is that the right thing?
That's the right thing. Yeah.
Okay. Something happened. King Arthur's circle spirit stranger. Ley lines meet.
Where is this?
I believe this is in Ben's own notes.
I've jotted down.
Yeah. It's your personal notes. Okay.
Yeah.
I can plonk it somewhere if you want.
Can do. So I think I'm fairly sure I mentioned it. I'll mention it anyway, just because whether or not it means anything to you or your characters is up to you really, unless it becomes relevant. The goddess was named as Iron Druid.
Iron Rod. I've got Iron Rod and Gwydion. I've got stuff about them.
So Iron Druid was the goddess called she was named directly because of the silver wheel. The reason you can access this place is because of the full moon. Nobody did a high enough religion check to figure out much about her at the time anyway, those that were there at the mansion. Apart from that, the only other information is what Daryl holds at the moment from Summer.
What was the thing about Gwydion?
It was just a name that was associated with this place, and there wasn't much else about it because the check wasn't high enough at the time. Pardon me.
I've also written down Mabignoian.
Yeah, Mabignoian. That is the book in where you found this information.
Ah, there you go.
And it is the second branch of the Mabignoian. That is to do with Care City specifically, and about now I've got to remind myself what that bloody is. God damn it! The second branch was about Branwyn and her marriage to the King of Ireland, Pryderi, and when they travelled to Care City, and the things that happened there. Again, the search wasn't the actual. I could tell you more about that story.
Tell us a story.
Actually, tell us the story, Uncle Remus. Anybody that heard what Hendrix had to say, and Hendrix yourself, can make me a history check to remember what specific elements that I can now give you now you've been to this place.
Have we split up before we done this research?
Yes. So Hendrix and Liam were the only ones that stayed in the mansion, but some of you had returned. I believe it was Raphy, Cadman, Daryl, and obviously Liam was already there. In fact, the only person missing, I think, was Baron, who was out till the very last minute, I believe.
So
Forgive me
ignore
if I'm wrong.
my history check if you think I wasn't there.
To be honest, you would have shared it when you got back, so actually there is no one missing. I'm
Okay.
happy for everybody to.
I got 15. Can I attempt a religion check about this as well then?
Yes,
We've got-
absolutely.
Oh, great.
Again, it will be based off of the stuff you already know because you already did the original religion check. But now that you're in this place, new information can spark further insight, if that makes sense.
Oh, history of 15 and religion of 16.
Ooh.
Right. What do I have to do to link? Like, because I've got a new computer. What do I have to do to link D&D Beyond to the?
Oh no!
Just refresh it or hit.
No, it's
the
beyond
features.
20. You need the beyond 20 extension. Have you
I've
got
got
that?
I've got it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
So,
Apologies.
refresh the page now that you've got Roll20 up. And if that doesn't link it in, just hit features and traits. And that should link it together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's asked me please select features and traits. Hold on. Get there in a minute.
Okay.
Try again. I did actually roll a 22, but it didn't show. I'll do it again. Ah, there you go. Still not rolling in.
No, there it
Yeah,
goes.
there it is.
Ah, yeah.
Hey, a whole 7. That's good.
Oh, 7, yeah.
A whole 7. It's all good. It's all good. Right. Sorry, I'm just having to quickly look up my because I realized I didn't put my notes in a place where everything's together. So that's on me. Okay. So who have we got? Hendrix was pretty good. Cadman's pretty good. I'd say Baron's on the cusp there as well. Oh, I see. Religion. Oh, there's different ones there for religion and history. Gotcha.
Yeah, 15
So
for
let's.
history 15, religion 16.
They're going to be
Baron.
pretty much the same thing because of how long ago this is. They're pretty much rolled into the same. Your history is pretty much the religious side of it because they're so.
Yep,
They're
certainly.
treated as fact. And in some cases it was fact. So, and because nobody's rolled super high, I can give you just a few pointers. Firstly, you now all remember that the goddess that originally owned this place was Iron Druid.
Could you spell that in the chat?
I absolutely can.
While you're that, can you also go for Tor Dadanan?
Oh, Tuath and Dadanan. Oh, I'll do that one as well. Tuath. Oh, I hope I'm spelling it right. I've spelled it often enough.
I've heard that in a book or a.
Tuath and Dadanan were the Celtic gods.
That's it.
Gods and goddesses that lived in the otherworld or parts of the higher parts of fairy. They once ruled in fairy and then became so elated and elevated in their power that they then ascended to higher planes such as Tir and Og, etc., which is another place. Blah 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 blah. Tir and Og is not somewhere you just walk into unless you're very special. Okay, so Iron Druid was the goddess of the circle. She was originally just a woman, just a very powerful, you imagine, a fae. probably because of her power and how she ascended essentially to a godlike being. Either that or just a very, very powerful archfey. Her history and her exploits were written in the Mabinogion, specifically. Was it the Mabinogion? I think I might be getting my books mixed up. Oh, this is going to be bad.
I believe you don't know your
I know.
from your.
Terrible.
I can't even
So,
do it.
Iron Druid was the sister to Gwydion. Gwydion was a very jealous, powerful man who engineered a war against King Pryderi, who was a Welsh king. Lots of things happened that frankly doesn't really mean anything to this story just yet. But Gwydion specifically is known to or is known for the War of the Trees, the Battle of the Trees. He is a powerful druid or enchanter, and he enchants an entire forest to fight for him. There's lots of different things that he's part of, different aspects of his powers like influence the history of Britain, or specifically Wales in a lot of ways. Him and Iron Druid had a very contentious relationship, and it's strange because they love each other as siblings, but also hate each other because they're both very powerful beings. After what was written about Gwydion, nothing was really heard about him ever again. And
disappeared into a pocket room.
Potentially. The other side of things, which doesn't actually have anything to do with specifically with Iron Druid and Gwydion, but Efnisian.
Bless you.
Son of a bitch. The anti-hero of Welsh mythology. He's the one mentioned in the Mabinogion, with his sister, I believe, Branwen. Branwen is set to marry one of the kings of Ireland. He becomes very jealous that nobody asks for his permission that she should do this. Starts a conflict when the King of Ireland comes over to visit his new bride, and eventually starts a war between Wales and Ireland. Bran the Blessed is involved in this, and
Brian Blessed is involved.
Brian Blessed is involved. He goes, "What's all this?" Bran the Blessed, a giant by all accounts, so giant, in fact, he walked across the sea between Wales and Ireland.
Is this the causeway thing?
What? Giant's Causeway, yes, it has some relation to it, but I don't think it's exactly to do with this specific part, because the causeway goes towards Scotland, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't come at me if that's wrong. Ropey. Anyway, basically, Efnisian is a powerful sorcerer, a wizard, gets very, very upset that he's not asked for permission, causes this ruckus. Ireland, the King of Ireland, gets very upset, still marries Branwen, takes her back to Ireland, treats her very poorly. Branwen then sends a bird back to Wales to basically ask to be rescued, and her brothers come over, including Efnisian. A war ensues, and specifically, the reason that this jogs your memory on this subject, Efnician discovers that the Irish are using a cauldron, a very powerful cauldron, that is said. Well, he witnesses the Irish king reviving their dead soldiers. So once they die, they'd put them in this giant cauldron, and they would be revived and come back to life, whole and complete, but unable to speak. So, which gives you this makes you think, hang on a fucking second, I've heard this before.
Or not, excuse me.
Or not. At the end of the story, Gwydion is said to sabotage this power that the King of Ireland has by placing himself inside the cauldron, being alive. The magic goes awry and explodes, killing Gwydion, Efnician in the process, and cracking the cauldron in half. The cauldron is called something really important. If I remember, Perdidini, which I shall put, which I think has also been mentioned previously. Yeah.
If people are mentioning this to Raphy, he's going to go, "Oh, like in the Slane comics, gotcha." That's all he knows about Irish mythology from
That's
Slane.
amazing. Well, this is Welsh mythology. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm joking. It's mixed, Irish and Welsh.
Yeah.
But as you guys are mentally conferring, Summer is keeping Cadman in the loop and doing what she did with Baron. You all discuss this history that you'd suddenly discovered and remembered, and the forest starts to move all at once. And that's where we're going to leave it. Because we can start the fight tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Next week.
Next month.
Next month. Don't say that. Oh wait, no, it will be next month.
Yeah.
Will it next month?
No, it won't.
No, it won't.
No, it won't.
Shut up, Ken.
But it will be
Next
because
week.
somebody's going to be ill or off.
Shut up.
Yeah.
or something.
Next week is Halloween, and I don't think I'll be available.
Oh, there you go.
Same
There we
here,
are.
it's next month.
Let's talk about this. Let's finish the episode. Let's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks very much for joining us. Please join us the next time, whether it's next week or next year. We'll see you then.
Bye.
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 Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.